Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Lauren. I will be walking you through a gentle yoga practice where we will be focusing on twisting our spines. We'll be taking a lot of different spinal twists, seated, standing, reclined, all different variations. Just make sure everything we do feels good in your body. Some things might take some work, but for the most part, everything should be really comfortable, really accessible. But if that's not true for your body, modify anything and everything you need to. All right, so let's get started. We're gonna start on our back. And actually for this practice, you will need a block or something like a block. So that might mean a stack of books. It might mean a pillow, a blanket that's been folded, a balled up sweatshirt. You need something for the end of the practice. So just make sure you got something like that handy. But we're gonna start on our backs. I'm gonna bring something under the back of my head. That always feels best in my head and neck. That is optional, but you do need to come down onto your back in some way. Now that might mean allowing the legs to be long against the mat or bending at the knees. Whatever feels best for you. The hope here is to find a position that takes almost no work, where you really feel very comfortable without a doubt. So you can really soften. And then when you find this space, really let yourself soften. Allow your body to relax. Acknowledging that you made it to your mat. You're here. And as you let your body rest and relax and soften, let's turn the attention to the breath. For a few moments, just breathe naturally, but notice your breath. Notice something simple, like are you breathing through your nose or your mouth? Does your breath make a sound or is it silent? Notice the ease at which you're breathing. Your breath is effortless and smooth and steady. And of course, you are welcome to stay here, just maintaining your natural breath, breathing effortlessly. Or we'll start to incorporate the Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi means victorious, so this is often known as the victorious breath. And the Ujjayi breath consists of an exhalation that should be audible. If there's anyone in the room with you, they should be able to hear your exhalation. And if you're new to the Ujjayi breath, a good way to practice it is to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, as if you're trying to fog up a mirror that's right in front of your face. So there will be, an audible sound on the exhalation that comes from a slight restriction in the back of the throat. It's the same position you would use in your throat if you were whispering. So that slight restriction in the back of the throat. And again, imagine that you're trying to fog up a mirror right in front of your face, so it'll sound something like this, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. So continue at your own pace, making sure that this exhalation makes, again, an audible sound, that if there's anyone in the room, they can hear your exhalation, they can hear you breathe out. It's caused by a slight restriction in the back of the throat, same thing you would do if you were to whisper. And try to make each exhalation a little longer than the last. Sometimes with Ujjayi, we sort of push the breath out, but it's not like that. It's still a long exhalation. We'll stay for about 3 more breaths at your own pace, breathing in through the nose and out the mouth with the Ujjayi breath. Continue to lengthen each exhalation, make it longer than the last. Can you continue to soften your muscles, your bones, and your joints? Continue this breath work. 1 more breath, Ujjayi breath. And then return back to your natural breath. Whether that means breathing in and out through your nose, your mouth, being quiet or making a sound. Whatever it is, breathe naturally. Notice how you feel. Now keeping your awareness inward and present. If it feels right for you in this moment, you're welcome to set an intention for your practice. Ask yourself what brought you to your mat. What is it that makes you choose yoga? And make sure whatever word or phrase is coming to mind is something positive. And then silently and slowly repeat it to allow it to settle in your heart. And then start to deepen your breath. And as you deepen your breath, create soft movements throughout your body. Maybe rock your head side to side. Wiggle fingers and toes. Move gently through arms and legs. And give yourself a few moments to move in any way that feels good for you. Maybe that means a full body stretch. Maybe that means hugging your knees into your chest. But a few moments being wherever you'd like to be. Okay, and then we'll all meet with the arms out in opposite directions, palms facing up, knees bent, feet flat on the mat. Feet and knees can be together or hip distance, whatever feels best for you. But let your legs just sway side to side. Let them fall over to the right and fall over to the left, back and forth. We're going to stay here for a while, moving through this very passive warm-up. So this really shouldn't take a lot of work. This should feel really comfortable and easy and fairly effortless as you let your legs sway side to side. So you're massaging your lower back into the floor, so you might feel that in your lower back. But we're also starting to twist the spine. So I want you to think about the shape that your body is making. And one way that you know that you're twisting is if your heart is facing one direction, but your belly button is pointing towards another.
So for example, as you let your legs go to the left, your belly button sort of points to the left, but your heart faces the ceiling. Notice that as your legs fall to the left, your chest might want to fall to the left a little too. The right shoulder might want to come up off the ground. This really isn't what we're looking for. We want the heart facing up as the belly button points to the right, back through to the center, and over to the left. So thinking again about your belly button and your heart facing sort of different directions, not necessarily opposite directions, but sort of over one sort of turn, like making one turn or a right angle sort of. Okay. Because I'll be checking in with you throughout to make sure that's what's happening in your spine. Let your legs go to each side one more time here. Okay, and then return back to the center. Back at the center, inhale. Exhale, hug your knees into your chest. You can rock side to side, massage your back here. Notice how it feels different here, massaging your back when your feet are off the ground. And these are just things I want you to think about. Again, thinking about, how you know you're twisting, or what's it feel like here with your feet on or off the ground. Noticing these really subtle differences is really how we advance our yoga practice. An advanced yoga practitioner is not someone who can do all the poses. It's someone who has great body awareness and a really good sense of proprioception and understanding what their body is capable of, where their limits are, when should you keep going, when should you stop. That is an advanced practitioner. Okay, now from back at the center, we're gonna come up to a seat, so you can rock through to the center or push yourself over to your side. And then firmly push your hands into the floor to come up. But we're gonna come up to a seat. I like to always sit on something, so whatever you grabbed, which you will need later, a block, a pillow, whatever, I would grab it and take a seat. I always like to sit in Virasana. I know this is not comfortable for most people, so you absolutely do not have to sit the way I'm sitting. I just want you to sit on something. That's gonna let your hips relax, which brings your pelvis to neutral, which brings the rest of your spine to neutral, which is what we are looking for to start at least. So we're gonna sit up tall, really lengthen up through the crown of the head, let the shoulders relax away from the ears, let the arms rest wherever's comfortable. Inhale as you draw your belly forward, lift your chest, lift your heart, you might even look up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, tuck your tailbone, draw your ribs back, chin to the chest, look down towards your belly button. Inhale as you draw the belly forward, lift the chest, lift the heart, look up. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, ribs back, chin to the chest, look down. Now, we're gonna do this a few more times at the pace of the breath. So I mentioned that we're gonna focus on twisting the spine. There are 5 movements of the spine. We're gonna do all of them right now. And they really all prep us for twisting. So even though we're gonna do a lot of twists, it doesn't mean we're not gonna do the other 4 movements. Okay, do this one more time each. Flexion and extension. And then the other movement of the spine we always want to maintain is length, because the more we start to slouch and sort of fall and collapse, the rest of the movements suffer and can't be quite as deep. So we always want to maintain length. So inhale, lengthen, reach fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring the right hand down, sweep the left fingertips over, reaching over to the side of the room. Move with your breath. Inhale to the center. Exhale into the side stretch. And again, we'll keep moving from side to side. Inhale. Exhale. Now, this is a lateral stretch or a side bend. This is the one that's really gonna help us twist. If we can do this a little bit deeper, the twists can therefore be deeper, because the side of the body needs to be opened to twist. So we're opening the side now. But in order for this side bend to be a little deeper, you've got to lengthen. So continue to lengthen. Do this one more time on each side. Coming over to the side, but lengthening when you come back to the center. Really reach the crown of the head up. Now, next time you come back to the center, again, lengthen. Inhale, elongate. Exhale, take the twist. Drop the arms, turn your heart to the right. Inhale to the center, lengthen up, sit up tall. Exhale, drop the arms, turn and twist over to the left. Move with your breath. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, rotate. Now noticing even as you're here, when you take that twist, you're turning your heart over to the side while your belly button still points forward. So sometimes, like when we were on our back, I'll ask you to turn your belly button to point a different direction, but keep your heart where it's at. Here we're doing the opposite. Belly button and the lower half of the body stays still, but the upper half moves. Let's do this one more time each side. And so depending on the way that that twist is moving, are we moving the hips, are we moving the shoulders, it might feel different. So really check in your body. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, slowly lower the arms. All right, let's come into tabletop on all fours on our hands and knees. I've got 2 blocks. I'm going to bring them to the top of my mat, but if you don't have them, that's okay. We're going to be kneeling for a little bit. You might want to pad under your knees, but it's not necessary. Okay. So we're going to start in tabletop, knees under hips, hands under shoulders. Really spread the fingers wide. All right, we're going to come back to a twist, similar to what we were just doing, but now we're in tabletop, so the feeling might be a little different. Okay. So, starting with the hands under the shoulders, keep the left arm where it's at. Reach the right fingertips over to the right side of the room with your palm facing down. Inhale. Exhale, thread your right fingertips through under your left armpit. Reach over to the left side of the room. Turn your heart to face the left side of the room. Inhale, reach your right fingertips over to the right. Heart faces the floor. Exhale, thread through under the left armpit. Turn your heart to face the left side of the room. We're going to go with the breath. Inhale, reach to the right. Exhale, thread it through, reach to the left. Now we're going to do a few more. Maybe you inhale, reach your right fingertips to the ceiling, your heart to the right, and then exhale, thread it through, turn your heart to the left. But we're going to do 2 more. Inhale, maybe reach to the ceiling. Exhale, thread it through. 1 more, and we're going to hold it. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, take the twist. We're going to hold it. So really crawl your right fingertips over to the left. Bring your left hand in front of your face. And you might push the left hand down to really roll the left shoulder back. Really turn your heart over to the left, if not up towards the ceiling. But belly button points towards your mat. Take a breath. Now with the left hand in front of the face, push the left hand down. Inhale, return back to tabletop. Okay, so notice if you felt that in a different section of the spine as opposed to when we were seated moving here. Same idea, but a different way to execute, so it might feel different. Okay, so from tabletop, right hand stays where it's at, left fingertips reach directly over to the left, palm faces down. Inhale, exhale, sweep under the armpit, reach over to the right, turn your heart to the right. Inhale, reach over to the left, heart faces the floor. Exhale, thread it through, reach to the right, heart faces the right. Let's move with the breath. Inhale, exhale. Now as you do this, maybe you inhale, you reach your left fingertips up towards the ceiling, heart towards the left, and then take the twist, heart to the right. Inhale, reach up, lengthen and expand. Exhale, thread it through. We're going to do 1 more, and this time we're going to hold it. Inhale, exhale, thread it through, and we're going to hold. So slide the left arm all the way over to the right. Let the back of the left hand come down onto the ground. Right hand comes in front of the face. And maybe you just keep your hand there for just some stability. But think about your belly button pointing towards the mat. We want your heart to face the right. So push the right hand down, roll the right shoulder back, like you're trying to stack your shoulders, like you're really turning your heart up towards the ceiling. Stay for a deep breath. Place the right hand down really firmly and inhale, return back to tabletop. Okay, maybe give yourself a few moments to move around. All right, okay. Now from tabletop, we're gonna make our way up to standing in just a moment. So if you had something under your knees, I think it's gonna get in the way. I would push it off to the side. Now, if downward facing dog isn't in your practice, you can step 1 foot forward, come to a low lunge, lift the back knee, come to a high lunge, and step forward to forward fold. Meet us here in forward fold. Otherwise, from tabletop, Walk your hands one whole handprint closer to the top of your mat. Hook the toes under. Inhale, lift the knees. Exhale, reach the sit bones to the sky. In a few breaths, we're going to meet in forward fold. So maybe from down dog, you just start to walk forward, but maybe you want a few moments here in this downward facing dog. Spreading the fingers wide, pushing the hands down, reaching hips and sit bones up towards the ceiling. Stay for another breath. Okay. Now if you're in downward facing dog, deeply bend the knees. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, travel forward. Walking or stepping forward into forward fold. This is where we'll all meet. Feet are hip distance apart, and your feet look like the number 11, all 10 toes pointing forward. You maybe have a soft bend in your knees here. I always recommend a soft bend in the knees for most students. We want to feel a comfortable stretch through the backs of the legs and through the back of the torso, but nothing too deep, nothing too intense. Be gentle with yourself. Take a breath. Now firmly push the heels of your feet into the floor. Inhale, lift up halfway. We're going to hold it here. So place your hands on either blocks, the shins, the thighs, but reach the crown of your head forward. Lengthen your torso. So just like when you were sitting and you were sitting up tall, elongating, lengthening the spine, can you do that here? Even though you're facing the floor, can you reach the crown of your head forward and the tailbone back? Lengthen. Take a breath. Now firmly push the heels into the floor. Inhale, rise up. Circle the arms, fingertips reach to the sky. Maybe add a bit of a back bend at the top. Bring your hands through to your heart. Take a deep breath. Okay, let's move through some half sun salutations here. So checking in with your feet one more time, making sure that the weight of your body is back in your heels. You can wiggle your toes, that's important. And you might have straightened your legs completely, or you might have a soft bend, whatever feels best again for the back side of the body. Okay, push the heels down, stand up tall. Inhale, reach fingertips to the sky. Exhale, hinge of the hips, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold forward, surrender to gravity. Push the heels down, inhale, rise all the way up. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Push the heels down, inhale, rise, fingertips to the sky, Urdhva Hastasana. We're gonna do 1 more. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward, surrender to gravity, Uttanasana. Push the heels down, inhale, rise, Urdhva Hastasana, fingertips to the sky. And then exhale, bring the hands through to the heart, pause, Tadasana, mountain pose. Take a deep breath. Okay, all right. So now from here, let's start to move a little bit more in that side to side and that twisting. So just now we were moving in the flexion and extension, but now let's do those other movements that we're really after today. So same setup in the feet, set up through the body, push through the heels, stand up tall, relax your shoulders. Inhale, circle your arms up. We're gonna let the arms stay up overhead here. So your spine and your body is long here. Continue to lengthen. So we're maintaining length, we're gonna just add on. We're not swapping one out for the next. These movements are sort of cumulative here. So you've got this length, you reach your fingertips to the sky. Using your left hand, grab onto your right wrist. Inhale, exhale as you sweep over, reach your right fingertips to the left. And then we'll switch sides. Inhale, return to the center, fingertips to the sky. Switch the grip, use your right hand, grab your left wrist. Exhale, take the side stretch. And now this time, inhale, return to the center. Keep reaching fingertips up towards the ceiling. and lengthening the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. But now let's bend the elbows. Elbows sort of look like a goalpost or a cactus position. Elbows are bent at a right angle, palms face forward, fingertips to the sky. So we'll inhale, stand up tall. Exhale, take a twist just at your waist over to the left. So your belly button still points forward, but can you turn your heart over to the left? So don't let the hip go with, because then it's not a spinal twist. So just at your waist, it's going to be a really small movement. Inhale, return to the center. Exhale, twist over the opposite direction. Make sure your belly button still points forward, but you turn your heart to the right. They won't necessarily be directly at a right angle, that sort of quarter turn. You won't get all the way there, that's okay. Okay. Now inhale, return back to the center. Fingertips reach to the crown of, or towards the sky. Fingertips and crown of the head reach up. We're gonna do that at the pace of the breath. So inhale, lengthen. Exhale, left hand grabs right wrist, sweep up and over to the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale, switch sides. Right hand grabs onto left as you reach up and over to the right. Now inhale to the center. Exhale, goalpost the arms, take a twist over to the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale, take a twist over to the right. We're gonna do that 2 more times through. So inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend over to the left. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend over to the right. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, goalpost the arm, take a twist to the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale, take a twist over to the right. 1 more time through. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, side stretch, reach over to the left. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, side stretch, reach over to the right. Now keep your hips still as you take this twist. Inhale. Exhale, goalpost and twist just at the waist over to the left. Inhale to the center, keep the hips where they're at. Exhale, take a twist over to the right. And then inhale, fingertips reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Come into forward fold, Uttanasana. Let your upper body just surrender to gravity. Let your head hang. Take a breath. Okay. Now from forward fold, inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, step the right foot back, all the way back, and drop that right knee down onto the ground. So we're gonna be kneeling here for a little bit. You might wanna pad under your right knee. That's perfectly fine. And I'm gonna have my hands on my blocks. I like that feeling of openness in my chest. We don't wanna feel collapsed in the chest or rounded in the chest. We wanna maintain length, not a forward bend here. So pushing the hands down into whatever it is. If it's just fingertips on the floor, that's okay. But think about really lifting your heart away from the floor. And from wherever your left foot is currently, scoot it forward, maybe an inch or 2 towards the top of your mat. Now everything that is touching the ground, including the top of the right foot, the shin, the knee, the left heel, the hands, push down to lift your body up, like you're trying to push the floor away from you. And then allow your hips to come forward. Feel a comfortable stretch in the front of your right hip. So we're getting into your right hip flexor here for a moment. Really continue to push the floor away from you. You're not leaning on the floor. You're not just sort of supported by the floor. You are supported by the floor, but we want to push back into it. Stay for another moment. Okay, I'm gonna have my back to you for just a moment, but from here, I'm gonna move my blocks off to the side. We're gonna push the left heel firmly down into the ground to lift the torso upright. Bring your hands to your heart in Anjali Mudra, palms together, elbows out wide. Inhale, really lengthen. Exhale, take a twist over to the left, hooking the outside of your right arm to the outside of the left thigh. So your tricep to your outer quad, or almost by your IT band. So hooking it over and then using your arm as leverage to turn your heart to the left. Notice that your belly is facing sort of forward or down. We want to turn the heart at the waist so that your heart faces the left. Maybe you look up towards the ceiling, past your left elbow or your left shoulder. Now you might stay here if this is all the work you need, but if you want a little bit more work, a little bit more effort, hook the back toes under, lift that knee. Now if you lift the back knee, think about squeezing your inner thighs in toward each other. Don't let it feel like you're doing the splits. We want engagement, squeeze, contract. Keep twisting, lifting your heart to the sky. Take a breath. And then lower that back knee. Inhale, untwist. Bring the hands down. And let's hook the back toes under. Inhale. Exhale, lift the knee and step forward. So come back to forward fold, Uttanasana for a few moments. Maybe you let your heels sort of pedal and you let your knees bend. You sway your hips. Shake your head yes and no. Give yourself a few moments before we keep going. Okay. All right, and then right from forward fold, inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, step the left foot back, all the way back, and then drop the knee down. Okay. So knee comes down into the ground. I like the top of the foot down on the ground here. All right, and then the hope is that your ankle and your knee and the front leg are stacked, but we're about to draw the hips forward. So draw the foot forward a little bit, just another inch or two. And then everything that's touching the ground, push it into the ground like you're pushing the earth away from you, like you're trying to rip your mat in half. Push down, and then allow your hips to come forward. So again, we don't want it to feel like you're trying to do the splits. It's not like you're letting gravity pull you down and sort of pull you. We want there to be this sort of reciprocal pressure or force between you and the floor, you and gravity. Gravity will always win, but we want to be engaged enough to be pushing back a little bit. Okay, so you let your hips come forward. You feel a comfortable stretch in your left hip. Those are your hip flexors, one of which is your psoas, if you've heard of your psoas, or if you've seen the word psoas spelled, it has a silent P in front of it. So it's P-S-O-A-S. Yeah, it's got a silent P in front of it. So if you've ever tried Googling it or you read it and you thought, what is that? It's your psoas. Okay, one more breath here, stretching your psoas. Okay, and then allow your hips to come back a little bit. Bring your hands to the top of your right thigh to help lift your torso, bringing everything upright. Okay, now you could just stay here. You don't have to take the twist. The twist really isn't the challenging part. The challenging part is lifting that back knee, which is entirely optional. But from here, maintaining the length, hands to the heart, elbows out wide, lengthen first. Remember, these movements are cumulative. So inhale, lengthen, exhale, add a twist onto that length. Don't swap one for the other. Okay, so tricep, back of the arm, comes to the top of the thigh or the outside of the thigh by the quads or the IT band. And you use this as leverage to twist, like you're turning your heart over to the right, maybe even the ceiling, maybe you even look up past your right elbow. And maybe you keep the back knee on the ground, or maybe you hook the back toes under and you lift that knee. Maybe it takes you some time to get there, that's all right. Okay, now again, push down into the floor. It's not like you're letting gravity do the work. Resist gravity, fight against gravity. This is how you get stronger. So keep pushing, pushing down into the ground, squeezing the inner thighs, rotating your chest and heart over to the right. Stay for a deep breath. And then drop that back knee. Inhale, untwist. Bring the hands down. Okay, hook the back toes under, lift that knee. Inhale, exhale, step forward, forward fold, Uttanasana. Let the upper body surrender. Maybe sway side to side. Give yourself another breath or two. And then from forward fold, inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, deeply bend the knees, plant the hands, and step either foot back, doesn't matter which one to me, and drop that knee down. And then drop the other knee down. We'll meet in tabletop. From tabletop, we're gonna come into a seated position. So you don't need anything. You can just Bring your legs around. Okay. And you can sit along your mat. I'm going to sort of sit at a diagonal, so I'm sure that you can see me. But you can stay just forward. I will mirror you for this. So, okay. We're going to come to a seated twist. We were doing seated twists already when we were moving with the pace of the breath, but now we're going to hold it and we'll have the option for it to be a little deeper. So listen to your body. So we're going to keep the, let's say the right leg long, bend the left knee. Okay, now you've got lots of options here. One is just keep this left foot to the inside of the right thigh exactly as it is, but listening to your outer hip and your lower back, you might place the foot to the outside of the thigh, to the outside of the knee. If you do that, the base of the big toe, so not the big toe itself, but the base of the big toe, the ball mount of the foot, needs to be down on the ground. Okay. Now you're going to continue to flex your right foot. Your right toes will continue to reach up towards the ceiling, not forward, not in or out. Straight up towards the ceiling, because then we know the knee is pointing straight up to the ceiling, and then we know the knee is safe. Okay. So keeping your torso as it is, your left hand will come behind you like you're reaching for the back left corner of your mat. Your chest and your spine should not have moved yet. Okay, because we need to set up this pose very specifically if we want a good outcome. Okay, so push the left hand into the ground, reach the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Inhale, really sit up tall, lengthen, elongate, stretch, and then exhale, take a twist over to the left. Now, you've got a few options. Your right arm can wrap around your left thigh and you can hug it in. Then you're gonna feel a deeper stretch in your glute and that might feel really good. Or you might hook your tricep to your quad, just like we did when we were in the prayer twist, and use that as leverage to twist a little deeper. Okay. Now, depending on your shoulder, I like to usually just have my right fingertips up towards the ceiling, but you might place the fingertips down. Listen on how that makes your shoulder feel though. Okay. Now you're going to continue to push your left hand down into the ground to sit up tall. Turn your heart to the left. Belly button still is forward towards your right toes, and your right toes are up towards the ceiling. And you might turn at your neck to look over your left shoulder. You might even stretch your eyes. If you're looking at a lot of screens these days, look out of the left corner of your eye as much as you can. Try to find a spot on the wall, a painting, whatever you've got on the wall. Look at it, hold it, stay for a breath. And then blink your eyes back to neutral. Return your head and your neck, shoulders and arms, and down through the spine. And then you can return your left leg and sort of pedal out the legs. Okay, same thing second side. So we're gonna keep the left leg long, bend the right knee. Right foot can come flat onto the ground just like this. It can stay right here, or it can come to the outside, but the base of the big toe needs to be down. Okay, again, not necessarily the toe itself, but the base of the big toe. That needs to be down on the ground. Left foot is flexed, toes to the sky, knee to the sky, knee is safe and protected. You're gonna keep your torso where it's at, so don't turn yet, because we really wanna lengthen first. So then the twist is really very nice. Okay, right hand comes behind you, like it's reaching for the back right corner of your mat, but your heart still faces forward. Left fingertips reach to the sky. Inhale, sit up tall, lengthen, grow tall and long. Exhale, take the twist over to the right. Your left arm might wrap around your right thigh and hug it in. You might hook tricep to quad and use it as leverage to twist. I like left fingertips to the sky, but you could bring the fingertips down. Notice that what that does in your shoulder. Okay. And then right hand pushes down to sit up tall. You turn your heart to the right. Maybe you turn and look over your right shoulder. Maybe you look out of the right corners of your eyes as much as you can. And can you find that spot you found before and then go past it? Continue your gaze, go past it. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Take a breath. Blink your eyes back to neutral. Return your head, your neck, your shoulders, your arms, your spine, and then your legs. You can bounce out through the legs a little bit, move them around, give them some time. Okay. All right, we're gonna come down onto our back. And this is where you're gonna need a block or something like a block. For this, because of what we're using it for, it could be a pillow. It doesn't really have to be that firm. Okay. All right, well, we're gonna make our way down onto our backs. Now, this is one of the very few poses that I would suggest not having anything under the back of your head. Most poses, 99% of poses, I like something under the back of my head, and I recommend that for most students as well. Not this one. We want to keep everything very supported, very firm, not on something soft and squishy, and we don't want the head lifted up too much. So we're better off right on the floor. All right, arms alongside the body, palms facing down, knees bent, feet flat, feet and knees hip distance apart. Oftentimes in this pose we're about to come into, knees often splay out wide or knock in. So imagine you've got an invisible block between your thighs. If you have a second block, you could do that and really put one between your thighs at its thinnest width. Or you could just imagine, kind of challenge yourself. What would it feel like if there was a block between my thighs? I can't knock them in and I can't let the block drop. Okay. And another thing, last thing before we actually do the pose, I'm doing so much talking today. So in bridge pose, I often hear teachers cue, and I used to cue this myself, walk your heels back towards the backs of your thighs so much that you could maybe even touch your ankles or touch your heels. If you can see the screen and just peek at me for just a moment, if I do that, if I bring my Achilles all the way back to my seat, and when I lift up, I don't know how visible it is, but my shins probably are leaning away from me, right? They're probably at like a diagonal. That's not so great for the knees. When we lift up, we want the knees and ankles stacked, the shin a vertical line, not a diagonal. So if you can brush your fingertips to your heels, you're actually a little too close. Walk your feet forward so they're just out of reach. That's usually what's good. And if you were never able to teach it or touch them, that's even better. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, so feet flat, knees bent, feet and knees hip distance, imaginary block between the thighs. Push your feet down, really firmly pushing through the heels especially, and lift your seat, lift your lower back, lift your mid back. We're gonna come through some moving bridges. So inhale, and then exhale, lower the mid back, lower the low back, lower the hips. Move with your breath. Inhale, lift your hips, lift your seat, lift your back, squeeze your glutes at the top, and then exhale, very slowly lower down. We're just gonna do about 3 or 4 more. So inhale, lift, reach, rise up towards the ceiling, squeeze your glutes, activate here. Exhale, very slowly lower down. About 2 more. Inhale, lift, reach, rise towards the ceiling. Exhale, slowly, gradually lower. Last one. Inhale, reach, rise, fly up towards the ceiling. Exhale, very slowly, thoughtfully, mindfully lower. Give yourself a breath once your spine has completely come back. Take a deep breath. Okay, now you need your prop. So your block, your pillow, your stack of books, whatever it may be. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna take a supported bridge. So we're gonna push the feet into the floor. Inhale, lift, reach, rise, hold it at the top. Keep breathing, but hold the movement. And then slide the block at any height, preferably the little or the medium height, not the big height. I would not suggest the big height. If you want a lot of height and you have 2 blocks, I would put 2 blocks at their lowest height on top of one another. Okay. But you might just have 1 block on its lowest height or its medium height, whatever feels good for you. All right. And then once you have found your comfortable spot, and also one more note about this, the block is under your sacrum, not your lower back. Those are 2 different things. Your sacrum is south of your low back. It is closer to your heels, closer to your pelvis, closer to your seat. So it is lower. So make sure it's there and not on your lower back. Okay. And then just let the arms rest, maybe palms turn up. And we're just gonna stay for a few breaths in a restorative supported bridge. That's it. Setu Bandha, Sarvangasana. If you've got another variation that you'd like to take, you are welcome to it. Just stay safe within your body. And let's stay for a few breaths. Take 3 more deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, if you've done something different with your legs, come back with knees bent and feet flat. Feet and knees about hip distance apart. Take a breath. Now keep your neck in neutral throughout this pose. You can wiggle fingers and toes and move arms and legs, but keep your head and your neck fairly still as you come out. So push your feet into the ground, lift your hips, inhale. Slide the block off to the side. Exhale, lower using the whole exhalation. So lower very slowly. Lowering all the way back down. Once your spine feels heavy and everything is resting, knock your knees in and let your feet come out wide. Constructive resting pose. Stay for about 3 breaths. So I'm going to grab my towel and place it back under the back of my head, but again, you don't have to do that. And we're going to come into one more twist, and then we are going to be almost done. All right, so we're going to take a twist here. If you've ever done physical therapy, especially for an upper body or spinal issue, you've probably done this movement. So this is what we're going to come into. So you probably won't be able to see the screen for a little bit. That's okay. I will try my best to just use verbal cues, but I will be doing it with you. So if you've got a peek at the screen, that's all right. Okay. So come all the way over onto your left side in a tucked fetal position, reaching both arms forward so they are perpendicular to your mat. So your arms and your mat make like the letter T as opposed to like an equal sign. So all 10 fingers are reaching over to the left. This is what's hard about doing this from home, because normally in a studio I'd say towards the windows or towards the blue wall, and I don't know what your space looks like. So to the left, let's hope everyone knows left from right, because you'd be surprised. So you're laying on your left side, reaching all 10 fingers over to the left, again, perpendicular to your mat. So your arms and your mat make like the letter T. Okay, now you're going to keep your legs as they are. Knees are bent at about a right angle. Left arm is going to stay where it's at. Back of the left hand is going to rest on the ground and it's going to stay there throughout this. Your right hand will lift up, reach the right arm forward towards the left side of the room, towards the wall you're looking at. And then inhale, sweep your right fingertips up and over towards the ceiling, and then eventually over to the right. And we're going to move with the breath. So exhale, return the right arm over towards the left like you're closing a book. Right arm to start reaches forward past the left fingertips. And then inhale like you're tracing a rainbow. Let the right arm go to the right. Exhale like you're closing a book. Bring the palms together. Inhale, reach the right arm forward. And then sweep it over like you're tracing a rainbow. We're going to do one more like that. Exhale like you're closing a book. Inhale, reach right fingertips forward in the direction you're looking. And inhale, sweep it over like you're tracing a rainbow. And then eventually let the right arm come all the way down over to the right. So now your right fingertips point to the right. Your left fingertips point to the left. And the backs of both hands are on the ground. Now that might not happen. That's okay. But it's a lot more comfortable in your right shoulder if your right hand rests on something. So maybe a block or whatever you've got. So your heart faces the ceiling, but your belly button points to the left. You're in a twist. And then maybe you want to twist even in your neck, which you've already had an opportunity to do this a few times. Maybe you want to do it again. And you turn your neck so you're looking over your right shoulder towards your right thumb. But notice the way that your spine feels here. Take 3 more breaths. And if your head is turned, return your head to the center so you're looking up at the ceiling. Wake up your right arm a little bit because it's going to have to work in just a moment. So maybe wiggle fingers and roll the wrists and arm for just a second. And then inhale, let it float up off the ground. Exhale, like you're closing a book, bring the palms together. So you're laying again back on your left side in a tucked fetal position. Take a deep breath. Okay, and then roll all the way over onto your right side. You can stay where you're at. I'm just gonna flip around so I'm still facing the camera, even though you might not even be able to see me, but just in case. This one is kind of a tough one to verbally cue. I actually learned this from a teacher who said they don't even teach this in group classes because it's so challenging to cue. And I don't really like that answer, so we're trying it here. So thanks for bearing with me. Okay, I know it's kind of tough. So now you're on your right side in a tucked fetal position, knees are both bent at a right angle, more or less. Both arms are extending forward in the same direction that you're looking, so your fingertips are pointing over to the right. Palms together, arms extended. Okay, now we're gonna let the right arm rest. Back of the hand rests, the right arm stays where it's at. Left arm lifts up. Inhale, reach forward towards the direction you're looking, and inhale, sweep the arm up and over like you're tracing a rainbow. Exhale, trace that rainbow back again as you draw the palms closer together. Inhale, reach left fingertips forward and then up and over. So that forward part is important first. And then exhale like you're closing a book, bring the palms together. Inhale, reach forward and up and over, again like your fingertips are tracing a rainbow. Exhale, return back. Let's do one more. Inhale, reach forward and then up and over. Exhale, return, and then this one will hold it. So inhale, reach forward, sweep up and over, and then settle. So the back of the right hand definitely is on the ground. Back of the left hand might not be on the ground, probably won't be on the ground. That's all right. But if it makes it, or if there's a block or something nearby that you could place it on, that would be great. But again, totally fine if it doesn't make it onto anything. Now notice your heart is facing the ceiling, your belly button pointing to the right, you are in a twist. Maybe you even turn at your neck to look over at your left shoulder. But find yourself in a comfortable position. And let's stay here for 3 breaths. And if your head is turned, slowly return your head to the center. Wake up your left arm a little, wiggle the fingers, roll out the wrists. Inhale, let it float up off the ground. Exhale, sweep it up and over like you're closing a book, palms together. You're now completely resting on your right side in a tucked fetal position. Take a breath. And then slowly roll over onto your back. I'm gonna come up to a seat, but you stay on your back. Okay, so come on down into your back. Take a moment to take some inventory of how you're feeling. And take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, hug your knees into your chest. You can rock from side to side or trace circles with your knees, maybe point and flex your feet. Do some ankle circles, happy baby, whatever you need for the next few breaths. settle into Shavasana. So Shavasana is our final resting pose where we lay flat on our backs. You might place something under your head or under the backs of your knees. You're welcome to do that. But allow your legs to lengthen about hip distance apart. Let your arms rest about a foot away from the body with the palms up. Let your eyelids feel heavy so that they eventually close. And let everything rest. Let everything soften. Let everything release, relax. Be passive, soft, and gentle. You have nothing you need to do, nothing you need to accomplish, no responsibilities in this moment. So relax.
deepen your breath. And as you deepen your breath, create soft, small movements throughout your body. Let your head rock from side to side. Run your thumbs over the rest of your fingers as you wiggle your toes. Roll your wrists and ankles. Move your arms and legs. You can reach your arms overhead, stretching as if you just woke up from a long nap. Fingertips and toes in opposite directions. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, hug your knees in towards your chest. And slowly roll over onto either side in a tucked fetal position, resting your ear on your arm to support your head and neck. Keeping your eyes closed and using the strength of both arms, push down into the ground, come up to a comfortable seat. And take a moment here to thank yourself. You made it to your mat today. And maybe you reflect on your intention. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. And may the thoughts, words, and actions of my life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom for all. Now slowly join your hands together in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. To seal our practice, we'll chant the sound of Om one time. Om is the oldest and most sacred mantra. It's said to be the seed sound, the first sound that ever existed, and therefore it unites all of us together. We'll chant the sound of Om just one time. Let's start with a deep and clearing breath. Inhale for Om. The light or the good in me acknowledges, respects, and bows to the light or the good in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed yourself and feel good. Continue to move around, stay healthy, stay safe, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.